aka Datu Lariat, aka The Gunatic Fringe, aka Gunther, aka Kenny Goomega, aka Toru Yenu, aka The Suzuki Goon, aka Dave Seltzer, aka Big Boom Mae, aka Booyaka Booyaka 69, aka Raymond Stereo, aka Soft Shimizu, aka Ricky Marvin, aka Wavy Boy Smith, I'm fucked Mr. Hitman, aka Pete Gasbreak Dip Dip, aka Sam Wu Guevara, aka The Dim Sum Don, aka Yam Chow Real Smooth Now, dun 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 dun, turn it out, aka The Cassava Nova, aka Manila Connection Booty, aka Andrew E. Kornick, aka Dolphy Ziggler, aka Joy Chinelas, aka The Invisible Pandasol, Don Calamonsi, aka Ray Fiend, aka Tenemos Cero Merienda, aka The Leche Bro, aka Corned Beef Hashimoto, aka Masa My Hero Chonies, aka KG Budo, aka Don't Step to Ron, aka Talagago Knight, yeah, aka Filipino Heat, aka Magandang Umaga, aka Jacob Puto, yada that I mean, aka I Love You Solo Suka, aka The Good Bob Boy, yeah, aka Ain't Nobody Realer Than Perilla, aka The Chow Main Event, yeet, aka Welcome to the Puso Penitentiary. And when I say Poos, you say so Poos. Let me repeat that again. When I say Poos, you say so Poos.
So.
Poos.
So.
Chihoo! AKA Suman Reigns, Acknowledge Me, aka Sexy Boy Bawang, aka The Giant Boba, aka Bruiser Bulgogi, aka Stem Han Sandwich, aka Cherokee Deswang, aka Big Spam Vader, aka Yan Yan Bigelow, aka The Big Boss Manong, and aka a man so appreciative of someone to come back to do this for the second time, do it the right time, do it at the right time. He is the host of Imps Adventures. We got here all the way from across the pond. One of the best podcasters, one of the fastest podcasters, one of the best episodic weekly podcasts on pro wrestling that I consume, Mr. Imp Matthew.
You got about as many, I guess, clarifications as WWE actually put on their own thing for about being episodic. What is it? The most longest running weekly episodic show on television, and there was another clarifier as well. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's not that special then, is it?
No, it's not that special.
So many clarifiers.
But I think you're special. You do. I could see it in your eyes. I could see it when you podcast with me.
That's it. That's like I guess a little teaser for a certain guy you're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Because I know like you kind of cover things on your show, and I know that I cover nothing on my show. Sometimes some of my shows we barely talk about wrestling. So, but today, I thought it would be pretty cool to do something with Matt here because the first episode we did, it was when I first started and. it didn't sound right, but people told me they enjoyed listening to it because of how weird it was. So I always say if you have the content, put it out. And you left an impression on people on the Social Suplex Discord, people said, hey, I really like that one. But like on other places that I go to, people send me like emails saying like, what was up with that? I was like oh well, there might have been a time delay or nothing. I'm gonna let people know. Actually, what happened is I lost the audio on my end, and then I went back and tried to re-record my lines as one does, and that was the result of it. So to break the illusion, it was my bad. So I'm here to give Matthew here the floor, as it were.
Well, it's technically my show now. We're going to talk about WWE. You got no choice. You're gonna have to. It's happening.
Yeah. You wanted a war?
It's like I could say we could talk about AEW, but I've only watched the first. No, I've not even. I got like 15 minutes into Swerve Osprey, and then just got busy.
Yeah, you got 4 more. You got 4 more hours, bro. That's.
Genuinely, I didn't finish last week's episode until yesterday.
Oh, God.
Like, I have to say, it's just not good.
I tell people the best way to watch this, because I don't watch live anymore, right? I watch like on a time delay. I watch like it in chunks. Usually, I watch it. I didn't finish the show. In the live thread, I'm not responding to what I'm watching. I'm responding to what people are saying, because it's fun. Because I had no idea what really was going on because I was out playing with my dogs because it was like actually like nice and cool last night. So what people thought I was watching, I really was not. Again, I'm breaking kayfabe here, but that's the truth. I like to tell the truth. And I feel like this is probably the only thing about AEW I'm gonna say today because there's so much to cover. I feel like these 4-hour shows and 3-hour shows are because next week they said it's gonna be 2.5 hours. I think that's just gonna go 3 hours. Yeah. It's just gonna go 3 hours because that's 2.5 hours plus overrun, and sometimes overrun. Why not just go 30-minute overrun? I think that's.
I don't know if it's different because I'm in the UK, so obviously I so rarely watch anything live, and I say it every single week on my show currently. Stop watching WWE live, guys.
How can you?
It's, with but it's different for AEW because with AEW it's like so quick paced, one thing onto the next. But with WWE, especially their premium live events, where it's 10-minute breaks in between every match, and I'm just like, it's not that bad. I mean, it's pretty bad when you're watching live. But if you don't watch it live, you can get through those shows so quickly.
Yeah, that's great. Because I went to Disneyland over the weekend, right? So I was kind of just watching Money in the Bank intermittently as I was waiting in line to go on rides and stuff. So Wi-Fi at Disneyland is not that bad. So I got to see a couple things. I got to see what's her name, Naomi win the Money in the Bank. I got to see Seth Rollins win the Money in the Bank and saw Jacob Fatu's face turn, which I thought was done pretty well, honestly. If we're talking about like building it up to a time period, I didn't expect it to come this quick, honestly. Because that's kind of a quick turnaround because they just introduced like JC Mateo into the story and that's barely been like an affecting on anything right now. So to just go from that new debut, they're going face to face with the Seth Rollins group and now he just turns on solo. That's seems like we're fast forwarding things a little bit. I don't know.
So obviously I'll talk about it in my shows. It's all fresh in the mind. It's all this stuff for me. Because I was saying that before Money in the Bank, that my predictions kind of were that I thought they'd stretch out the Jacob Fatu solo stuff, just because
that's what they do.
That's what they do. Like especially,
it's what we do.
Day, look at Bloodline, look at Bloodline, look at Judgment Day. But they, but I was saying before Money in the Bank, it actually feels like they're fast forwarding it, so they're going to get it at SummerSlam, especially with it being the first 2 nights SummerSlam. I feel like we're going to stack it with built matches.
Yeah,
so that's where. Going to get a Gunter title defense. We're going to get a John Cena big match. It's going to be. Things are going to be built up. And we're going to get Jacob Fatu versus Solo. It might even be Cena Cody, even at SummerSlam.
Yeah, we also
stuff like that.
And I think it's really funny that there's going to be Cena Cody with Seth roaming around with that because now essentially the world title. There's no more brand split. There's no more brand split.
I'm genuinely far more excited for Seth Rollins to be nowhere near that title. For me, I like the idea. So I don't know if they're going to go this route, but I like the idea. I mean, I'm spoiling my own stuff for my own show, but it's fine. But I like the idea of Gunter's now champion. Seth is now Money in the Bank. I love the idea of them taking Sami Zayn and just doing the Daniel Bryan storyline, but this time on purpose. Like actually going for WrestleMania for Seth versus Sami, and you have Sami Zayn beat Gunter after winning King of the Ring, and then Seth cashes in on him at the end of the show, blah blah blah. Or not even it doesn't have to be like identical, but just those three people holding those three cards of champion, Money in the Bank, and then fan favorite, and you basically just repeat what we're gonna do. I understand that that's the classic wrestling fan thing of do the thing in the past that worked again, please. Give us Nation of Domination again, please. Like it's just a repeat again, but it's history repeating itself again. But I feel like you got those three people with those three cards, and it's an opportunity to almost right a wrong and do it correctly this time.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there for Sammy, but do you believe that the Cena thing is really going to run just through December, or do you think it's going to last until next year?
This is going all year. This is not ending. Don't get your hopes up, chaps. This is not going anywhere.
There's no way that was his last WrestleMania, because if that really was his last WrestleMania and they wasted it on this stupid heel,
I genuinely believe he's unless there's like something else comes out. I can only use the knowledge that I've currently got, like the information that's currently out there. But based off that, I feel like we're running this till the end of the year, and Cena's going to drop it at the end of the year, probably to Cody. You can use this SummerSlam to make people really believe that it's not going to be Cody. That Cena's going to you really amp up the Cena stuff for the second half of the year, in terms of the fans being like, "What can we do? Our guys completely failed us," and then they do something for you to get behind Cody for a third and final time. Is what I expect to happen.
I kind of hope, my hope beyond hope, is that it's Jey Uso, mostly because where was this John Cena talking shit to him leading to? Because it's been John Cena kind of bullying him for the whole year, ever since he won the Rumble. Honestly, it's been, and if I'm doing things right, Cena got eliminated from the Rumble by who? Jey Uso. Cena talked about oh, you're the only world champion left. Or it would be a shame if he lost it to Logan Paul. He didn't lose it to Logan Paul, but he did lose it. And John Cena's gonna rub it in his face. I really think that the possibility is Jey Uso might be the guy to dethrone John Cena if it's not Cody. If Cody just ends up losing at SummerSlam. And I don't think the R-Truth thing goes anywhere. That's just my opinion.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the R-Truth thing is, I don't know, flavor? I don't know what to call it. It's becoming something, at least. Which, I mean, it takes us back to what we were talking about a second ago, where it's crazy to think that, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Truth was having a match where he was the enhancement guy for JC Mateo's proper first match.
Yeah.
And a week later, he's getting a big return. Because it was his last match. So I reviewed it. I think I watched it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And put out my show on Friday, which meant I was talking about it way after it happened, so my memory's all over the place. But he had that match with Mateo after the Cena match, the week after. Then over the weekend, the news came out about his contract not being renewed. Then the news about Carlito's contract came out, and on Monday Night Raw, there's no Carlito, but there's loads of Truth chants, and it continued on SmackDown as well. And then all the way through to Money in the Bank, where they're allowed Truth chants as well.
Yeah.
Then they bring him back. It's really weird for me to have watched the SmackDown match after I heard about his contract not being renewed, and I've seen all the outcrying and seen that stuff happen on Raw. I didn't watch the SmackDown till well after, so that was really weird for me.
Yeah,
in that order.
It's kind of hilarious for me on this point because R-Truth is 53 years old. R-Truth has been in WWE on and off since 1998, 1999 ish. Get Rowdy, trying to move some things, and it's him leaving. I felt okay, well, what spot opens there, I guess. And then I saw AAA and I saw Mr. Iguana and I fell in love. I fell in love with Mr. Iguana a long time ago because I did see him in. He did a couple AEW Darks. He did a couple
Oh yeah, he came across my radar. I can't remember how.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's come across my radar before. Yeah.
Yeah, his that look stands out. He just painted himself green. I really like that guy, but yeah, I don't really see the worth of an R-Truth in this at 53 at what he's gonna do. I mean, but this is WWE. 42 years old now. That's a young guy.
I mean, I like after watching Monday Night Raw, I like what they're doing with it, where basically he's not R-Truth anymore. He's going back to maybe closer to what his TNA gimmick was with Von Killings.
If he
Um,
talks about the, if he talks about WWE being all about systemic racism, how he was kept down when he was younger
maybe not
because
note for note.
because
I don't think-
if he
just a more
actually
serious.
yeah, if he actually does that thing where he talks about systemic racism
Oh,
in WWE,
not in,
not in Triple H's
not
WWE, no.
yeah, not in Triple H's Trump type WWE. Like, no,
Oh,
that ain't
yeah.
happening.
Where
That ain't happening at all.
when Triple H at that press conference said, "Oh, you're enjoying the story? It's all part of the show." And then after that, the mountain of no, he was really fired that came from Ron Killings, from Ron
Oh
Killings'
yeah, from
time,
everyone. Yeah,
from every
yeah.
from every account saying, "Yeah, we booked him for these indies. Now that we have to cancel him," and like, it's just like, man, Triple H, he doesn't. It seems like he doesn't have a handle on like what PR is or anything like for these
It's just
pressers.
I think Meltzer. It's something that Meltzer keeps repeating is that, like, it's a need to constantly be seen as smarter than, as in we're smarter than the fans, we're smarter than the others, we got one over you, blah blah blah. It's that need, but all they're doing is the standard folding reality back into the show.
Yeah,
That's all they're doing. It's not that special. It's not that complicated,
yeah,
and it's not even a thing I'd like take a dig at them or anything. It's like, no, I like that stuff. I
yeah,
like what they did on Raw with Truth cutting his promo saying that he is now Ron Killings. Like, I like that stuff.
yeah.
I didn't mind it,
He
but
cut off the braids
yeah,
finally, but if you look at the top of his head, he was just mercy killing the rest of his hair because that man is that
well, he
bald that hairline was all the way back to his braids. That
he
was,
he did have braids in TNA, didn't he?
yeah, he did.
Did he have like short? Yeah,
He did, but the
it's
hairline was way
mm,
forward. Now it's like
so
all the
yeah.
way. Yeah, man.
It
I
has been it was 20 years ago.
yeah,
I'm allowed to forget.
he
It's
was
been a
a
while.
28-year-old, 30-year-old man back then. No, yeah,
It's
28-year-old because he was that was yeah, that makes sense.
there's a reason that his nickname was Immortal.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
and he's
he's
still going.
still,
Still
you
is,
know,
still going.
he hasn't even started yet, as his song says. You know,
Oh yeah.
he he's still like I'm gonna say this, you know, like I might have called him like 53 years old, but good God, that man has quite the skincare routine. Him, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. Um, I'm I'm sure that cocoa butter, the shea butter that they use, man, I wish I could be that hydrated because those three somehow they look better now than they did 20 years ago. Or like in like our Truth's case, he hasn't aged since 1999. Is that not insane?
Like, I started getting grey wisps when I was at uni, like a decade ago.
Oh,
Like, it started to go downhill early.
oh yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
not.
But yeah, I was talking about like um, social media faux pas. Let's talk about CM Punk. Let's talk about that one interview he did where he said the interviewers asked him, "So how many Saudi shows will it take to come in?" And he said, "Oh, never." Let's talk about him when he was working for Fox and told off Miz about essing a Saudi Arabian blood money covered D, and
That was in the Fox era. Oh, I forgot when that was. All right.
I think it was because he was like 2019, right? That
Mm.
had to be in the Fox era when he was actually working for Fox.
Uh,
Or and just like thinking of that and to where we're at now, follow me to Saudi Arabia if you want this title shot. Rubbing it in his face like a dog who just took a poop on the rug, and just just shoving his face in it.
Because I did see I saw a let this play out because he never accepted the challenge, so nothing verbal. But I was like, but what's the alternative? They're not going to bring up why the crowd went ooh when John Cena said that. They're not going to fold that reality into the show.
Yeah,
So,
are
like,
they?
what other route is there?
What route is there? And then like, is he now saying that CM Punk is about the fans, but not those fans, right? These fans are my bosses. Those fans are not. Then when he said that thing about I don't come out here and defend billionaires or TKO, and he's like, David Zaslav called me one Bill Phil. Oh, like there's
Well,
so many receipts, man. There's so many receipts for what he said, and like it's just funny to me.
I think it's the fact that the actual content of his promo as well, where
Yeah.
but he's basically he's saying to Cena, you know what you're doing is not right, you know what you're doing is wrong. As the fans chanted, "You sold out," and I was
Yeah.
just like, just the meta reality of this. It's
Yeah.
just like I was watching it like, is this a rib? Are they making him say this to see if they can crack him or something? like. Uh,
Hey,
it's a crazy like meta thing to be watching.
it does make me think that because this was a serious like Vince McMahon era, like, well, I'm gonna fuck with you, pal, kind of promo, like, and then just like there was a part of that promo where CM Punk says, "You're just mad because these fans never chose you," and then a big part of the arena starts saying, "Let's go Cena," and Cena, 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 and like CM Punk just like pauses, but there was no like CM Punk chants coming out. It just becomes this "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks"
Oh yeah,
thing,
they've
and he's
that's
erased.
been a big critique for me. Like a big critique of the Cena heel turn has just been that it's so quickly gone back into the standard that we're immediately out of the booing thing. I think it even started to happen before WrestleMania,
Yeah, yeah,
but
they
since
were.
WrestleMania,
Yeah, because when you go to WrestleMania, because my cousin and my sister they went live and they said like they were cheering Cena. The most of the arena was cheering Cena during the match. It doesn't make sense during like because this if they're saying this is his last WrestleMania, all of his fans, like all of like the people who are nostalgia watching, like because WrestleMania that's like when everybody's watching who were watching before. They're gonna go to WrestleMania and they're gonna cheer their guy, and their guy from like 10 years ago, 20 years ago was John Cena. Or your kids grew up and like you love John Cena and now your kids love John Cena. So it's just funny to like put like that on whoever Cena's facing, and that's why I believe like if they do Cody again, Cody's also gonna still get that mixed reaction, because if you've been watching, you've heard those mixed reaction that Cody's been getting. It's like it's you can't miss it anymore.
I think him not being there, like absence making the heart grow fonder. I feel like that was needed for Cody,
Yeah,
and it was a good thing that he took that little time off. I
yeah,
probably would have left it longer, but obviously it's with so many shows packed together, especially we're in a tight period anyway. But then they're
yeah.
also counter programming anything AEW does, and that's putting even more shows on the schedule on a period where they're not particularly hot.
Oh,
And like coming up, we got King of the Ring, and then the counter programming with Evolution on All In weekend.
that's
Like
hilarious.
so many shows
It's
packed
a
together.
it's an evolution and then it's a takeover, right? Or is it
Oh
just
yes, it's
evolution?
Evolution and Takeover both on the same weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's funny to me, man, because like it's just like when they're the underdogs according to Nick Khan, right? Even though they have all the money, they have all the networks, they have all the connections, they're the underdog. But it's funny to see them try to cut off AEW at the knees. Um, I know you said you didn't watch it, but I watched the Triple A show. It's the best Triple A show over the last 5 years. I'm
but I've
saying
not
that.
heard.
I'm
I think the
saying that.
closest. Trying to think what the closest was. The closest I ever got was I loved Lucha Underground, which I
Yeah,
guess is like a AAA subsidiary.
yeah. It's
sort of,
Lucha Underground is like, and you know, like now they're kind of like referencing it on WWE and AEW, which is kind of funny to me, where both of them are referencing the like, cause you know in AEW they said, oh yeah, so Swerve and AR Fox had this match in Lucha Underground, and then you hear like Michael Cole saying, yeah, Phoenix was a former Lucha Underground champion, Penta was a former Lucha Underground champion, blah blah blah. It's funny, it's funny. But yeah, so like the whole thing of CM Punk working in Saudi Arabia, going against, I personally I don't see I don't hold it against the wrestlers for going to Saudi Arabia on the point of like when some of them talk about like the paydays they got, like because Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows talked about like the pay was really good, but they'll never go back again because of the whole hostage thing, right? Because I don't think they talked about they kind of alluded about how they were never forced to go back because they didn't want to be hostages again, and they kind of held up on it because when they went back on that 4 or 5 year return, they did not go back to Saudi Arabia for any of the Saudi shows. So I don't have like any issue with people collecting money. The problem with CM Punk is he made such strong stances about being against these shows, about against ever going there to work for whatever. And he talked about not being defending the billionaires or whatever or TKO and all that. And I'm just like, man, this is not. I don't like who is this for? Like, is this for the little kid in the audience that just sees like John Cena and CM Punk as wrestlers, or is this for like the guys who aren't even watching WWE who this is supposed to make laugh? Because like if you talk to like WWE fans like I do, they're just like, so they're making going to Saudi Arabia a bad thing for CM Punk, but every other wrestler goes there willingly. Does that mean CM Punk is morally better than all the other wrestlers?
That's the point I'm making. Like, how are they? You can't fold that reality in. Like it's not good. And it cannot work in a positive way.
And then like to those fans in Saudi Arabia, how are they supposed to take to Punk where like Punk says he doesn't want to really go there to represent them as their fandom? So you're gonna go there, and then the fans are gonna end up cheering John Cena 100% against this guy, and like we don't know like how. Because like what the last time they were taking hostage, it was because like something about WWE pay complaining about something, and they were just stuck on the plane. But like say some people like send those.
If I might, it was Vince and Mohammed bin Salman. They had a disagreement about some form of pay or something, and it just escalated. And I think it was MBS who stopped the flight from taking off, almost in a. Yeah, almost in a hostage situation with Vince, yeah. But
there's still such a thing as cultural police there in Saudi Arabia, right? Where they'll stop you if you're doing something that's haram, that's forbidden. So it's just like, I mean, I'm not gonna say for anybody to do this, but I'm sure someone's already like tweeted the Saudi Arabia accounts all these like comments and screenshotted and sent them to them.
It's in the age of social media, surely.
Yeah, surely. I mean, especially with all the.
I reckon American dickheads will do it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure someone's already done that, and like if I'm CM Punk, I'm like thinking like, do I really want to risk it for like a payday? That's like, it's a great payday, but do I really want to step on that plane and not know if I'm gonna go back home? Because that's a risk they all take, right?
My immediate read of it was whatever justifications he's got there, that's whatever he's going with. Like if I were to see him face to face, there'll be nothing I could say to him that he's not already internally argued with himself.
Yeah,
like he will be more aware than anyone about what he's doing. And if he's come up with justifications to do it, then
yeah,
all right. But people are going to take the piss out of you. Like you went against almost every model you apparently held there. So
yeah,
just you can take the money, but face for it. Just take it. You're gonna get it. You will know you're gonna take it.
Yeah, the money is great, but is it worth it for your
There's
soul?
always the Sammy route. There's always the Sammy route where I think he donated every single penny he got to his Syrian charity. I think.
Yeah, I really. His Sammy for Syria charity actually does a lot of good work, and like there's something for Muslims where they take the pilgrimage to Mecca, so like Sammy actually being able to do that pilgrimage, Sammy, and I think they put it on YouTube or WWE Network where Sammy and Mustafa Ali all got to do the pilgrimage to Mecca, and that means a lot to people of that faith to be able to do that, irregardless of like what the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and all that other stuff. Like, I'm not Muslim, but I know Muslim people, and I know like what that means to them to be able to go over there, and I'm sure that meant a lot to Sammy. I'm sure that meant a lot to Mustafa, and it's just if CM Punk decides to donate that to the Chicago Teachers Union, and like that'd be great. I
mean, it's fair to say, like, probably as an American, you probably understand better than anyone at the moment. But a government does not represent its people. Like, it's fair to say because the kingdom are doing one thing. That doesn't mean I think Dave on the front row, Dave Saudi man, I've not come up with a name, on the front row. It's like, I'm not going to like no will towards that guy who's just
Yeah.
bought a ticket to a show.
Yeah, I
Like
actually,
it's the
because I actually have cousins and friends that like are actually, they're over there, they're working, and this is like kind of like a taste of like Americana for them. So them being able to go to this kind of show, it does mean a lot for the people that live over there, like expatriates, or like a lot of people end up going over there, and it's just for the fans, I understand for them this is really a big deal. They're not thinking about the sports washing stuff. I know people don't think about the actual Saudi people, or like the expatriates that actually live in Saudi, that have nothing to do with any of the politics. They just want to be able to like watch something that, and they get to.
because it's like I think one other big thing with the punk stuff is I'm going to use a very European example. It might translate, we'll see.
Very European.
But the whole thing with Israel in Eurovision, where there was, because they're basically using it as art washing, their contest in Eurovision, where they get to do basically for 2 years in a row, they basically sent a victim song, and it's trying to drum up hope, and songs aren't meant to be political in Eurovision. You're not meant to kind of go that way. So they genuinely last year they had to change their lyrics because they were so blatantly about what was going on that they had to change their lyrics. And it still kind of was, but it was like less obviously blatant. Like you could lie to yourself it was about something else, and they went, "Fine, that'll do." But anyway, that's a tangent.
I do want to say this before we move on from Eurovision. As a proud Filipino man, I want to say shout out to JJ.
Oh yes,
JJ.
We cheered
man,
so loud. We cheered so loud for JJ, and then there was a post on Blue Sky that really made me laugh, where someone was like, "Please do not tell my mum what a Filipino boy has just achieved." I cannot. Please no, do not tell my mum.
Oh man, like
It really made me laugh.
it's like all my uncles, my aunts, my cousins are like, we don't pay. What are we gonna pay attention to Eurovision for? All of a sudden this year, Filipino, I don't know, he's from Austria, whatever. He immigrated from Austria, from the Middle East. But like just like having like a Filipino person win Eurovision. When a Filipino person does anything, no matter how percent they are, we are gonna be celebrating. We're gonna be like, hell yeah, that's our guy, that's our guy. And I'm just saying, that's my guy. I downloaded that song.
The actual link.
Yeah.
I didn't just bring it up just to just Europeanize the pod. But that's what the Israeli government were paying for ads for the song saying to vote for the song in the contest.
Yikes.
It's nothing out of the ordinary for like the actual like party of people or for their broadcaster or for somebody for them to say
they were actually
please
using
vote for us, that'd be nice.
There's actually IDF forces using the voting for that, right? They were using like money from that was the rumor. There's like IDF people using that to broadcast over their internet for everyone to vote for that song. I think that's hilarious.
And American politicians were saying that obviously not going to watch, but they'll try and get like 60 votes in each to do it. At that point, like the contest is either it's in a weird place where there's only two winners at the moment, where it's either whoever the judges vote to win or Israel, and there's no other winner, and it's kind of like, oh, that can't be sustainable long term. That can't be good.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But the point I was making was them actively using it as art washing, and it's like, well, why would the Israeli government be paying for ads for you to vote for their song in Eurovision? Why are they paying for it? Why are the government doing that? It's not the broadcast company. It's not the people. It's not the act. It's not the actual body sending the song. It's the government that are doing this.
Yeah.
And same thing, with Saudi Arabia putting on these WWE shows that are promoting how great the country is. Why are the government specifically paying for that? Which is, and if you CM Punk, I would assume that goes against every single moral fiber in your body. So the fact he appears to be going against it is obviously worthy of ridicule.
And we want to talk about Saudi money, okay? Let me say this. So New Japan promoted Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. WWE promoted Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. AEW promoted Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. which is all published and developed by SNK, who are now owned by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So,
Oh yes, they purchased a couple. I think
yeah.
they purchased somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But... Oh, the Pokemon Go. They
Yeah, they
purchased a
purchased.
company.
That's why they have a Pokemon Go There's a
Yeah.
Pokemon Go commercial with Riyadh season stuff.
Ah,
So like literally, I also bought like King of Fighters 15, and I play that, and I know that was developed by by SNK. So like you and like there was a tournament for for Fatal Fury where it's like $1 million pot, and you know that where that money comes from Saudi money. So like it's kind of you kind of can't miss it now anywhere you go, where it's in video games, sports, entertainment. Um, there's money, there's fingers in every kind of pot. So that's why like I really can't hold it against people who take that money because, especially in what our economy is, the world economy. But I do hold it against people when they make it their whole personality that they'll never take the money, they'll never sell out, and they sell out. Which I think is the whole point. People aren't saying like, "Oh, you're whatever for selling out." It's like you made these stances, but who knows? Maybe he just doesn't go. Like you were saying, he didn't say yes. So
yeah. So that's their only out clause at the moment. However, like why else? Because my thing is why else bring it up? Because they're not going to fold in the reality of Punk's comments.
yeah,
That's not a reality they can run as the story. That can't be it. Because my expectation is the reaction the crowd had to where they're going, oh, because they're aware of the comments.
yeah.
My expectation is that's the last of that we'll hear, and it'll just be a standard build to a feud from now on. So, that's my expectation for it.
Another faux pas this week. I'm gonna talk about two by this guy. So Cody Rhodes. We're talking about the first one. Then we'll go to the second one. He said that Bullet Club wasn't a moneymaker until he joined, and that's verifiably false based on how many Bullet Club shirts there were sold before he even joined it. And like that was AJ Styles, that was the Good Brothers, that was Bad Luck Fale. That I'm not even gonna say it was Finn Balor. It was Prince Devitt because like he was there at the beginning. That's the Young Bucks. That's like all the guys who put in the work before he came, because the Bullet Club was an established name that he joined. It was already there.
Where did he make those comments?
He made it on his "What Do You Want to Talk About" podcast.
Oh, like the WWE produced thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say because part of the WWE, I can't say it for some reason. WWE rewriting is Cody was the sole instrumental guy in AEW and the sole instrumental guy making Bullet Club as popular as it is. And look, we've got him.
Even
that's the rewriting that they've been doing. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's the center reason for Bullet Club's success.
Even after having both Devitt and AJ on the roster, it's just kind of funny to me. And then, we also, God, I want Tama to beat the shit out of him again. I want that to happen. But there was that. But there was another thing that happened this week. I'm going to date this because this is coming out this week. We've had riots ongoing in LA since last week about, people protesting the deportation of not just like people who are here illegally, but also people who are here on visas, people who are here on green cards. They are deporting United States citizens. They're deporting black people, brown people, Asian people. They're deporting white people. This is how bad it's gotten here in California, here in America. And it just so happens that the government had sent troops to California to go ahead and police the streets for all the protesters. So what happened, was it yesterday? Was we had it was the I think 250th birthday of the army, and so we had Tiffany Stratton, we had the Street Profits, and we had good old as my friends at the NWA podcast would say, Cody not Cody not. Oh man, I can't say. You know, we had Cody Rhodes. You know, Mister.
I'm so culturally separated. I don't even know what you were going to say. But, anyway,
I'm not. Oh yeah, I know it now. Cody Devontae Rhodes. You know, Mister For the Culture, appear smiling. They sang "Happy Birthday" to the Army, and they were the act to President Donald Trump saying, "No fatties. I don't want any fat people in the army. This is not what I want." You know, they were the act to. They were party to what had become a Trump rally. I talked to other people on another Discord. They're saying, no, just because they were there doesn't mean they supported them. They were there for this thing. They weren't there for that thing. Specifically, there was a tweet sent out by one Sean Rassap of Fightful who said, this was not a Trump rally. Despite it being a Trump rally where they sold things that had white privilege cards, that what they were doing is they went through Fort Liberty, and he was going to rename it back to Fort Bragg. If I don't know if you know American history, Fort Bragg was a Confederate general, and so to rename it back to a Confederate soldier, who were the enemies of the United States, to hand out cards that said white privilege credit cards, to do all that. Oh no, and it was really nasty work to send the Street Profits out there for the renaming of this.
I was going to say, so do you know? Because I generally all I've seen is. I saw like one note of somebody being like, "Oh, it's did a Trump rally." Then I saw this almost that clarification where it's like it's not advertised. It's not a Trump rally in name. It's something which then became a Trump rally when Trump turned up. I guess was the phrasing.
Trump was always announced to be there.
So what did the Street Profits do? Because I would massively assume that they weren't there for the same reason.
They sang "Happy Birthday" to the Army for 250 years of service.
Oh, okay. My assumption is, were they like WWE sent? So they sent their biggest star, and they sent 3 champions and Tiffany Stratton and the Street Profits.
Yeah, that's
to go out and do a WWE.
But you know, if you're doing an appearance, if you care, right? You know what's going to go on because you know that Trump is going to be there. That's probably one of the first. But you know these they don't care. Wrestlers don't care. They don't have any. The only thing they care about is their bank account, and I'm sure they got. I hope they got paid. You know, I hope they got paid. But to go out there and seem like you're on the same team as who's going to come out later because you're the opening act for the main event, because I'm the main event. I'm the one that matters. I'm all of it. You know, Draco, Trump is over here. And like, it's just like, I already knew Hyrule Husky. I already knew about that. He made all those posts about like, why am I at Starbucks when these people can't speak English? Fact. That's what he said on his thing. He talked about wearing the Make America Great Again hat while watching Rick Rude matches and smoking a cigar. And he kept saying, no, I'm not this, I'm not that. And here he comes smiling. We'll defend. And like, you know, it's just, it sickens me. It sickens me so much because they're sending the military to attack the people they're supposed to protect, to not uphold our Constitution of free speech, of gathering peacefully. No, we're going to round people up. We're going to arrest them. We're going to put hands on these people who are just here to protest this tyranny, protest this gross use of power to just put people in jail, put people in prison, to deport people who shouldn't be deported. This is what America's become. This is what WWE's become. People are going to defend it by saying, oh, they were just told to go there. But like, you could always say no. You could always do your research about what am I actually going to. And I know like Montez is a veteran, but like,
so I'm assuming that's because there's no WWE, I guess, in a way, are caught into two things where they haven't mentioned Trump's existence since he got into office the first time. Oh no, since he got chosen as a nominee, they've not mentioned him on their program in a decade. So they've kept away. Obviously, like you see attitudes in the programming, but they've not mentioned him or anything to do with his campaign. When they were pretty overt with it in the noughties, Like, if you watch, they're actively telling their viewers to vote for people in the early 2000s. Like, it's a very different,
Yeah, they
very
used
different time.
to. They sent The Rock to the Republican National Convention.
Yeah. Like,
That's
they were to be so overt with it, like
yeah,
anti-war stuff, and like it
yeah,
was all over.
wrestle your vote. I think they used to have the two people
Didn't
to
they have
register.
a? They had an Obama impersonator one time, didn't they?
Yeah, they had an Obama
Yeah.
impersonator, and there was like a was it? They had was it a Romney? Was it the 2008 or 2012? Well, whatever.
There was what was the worst? The voted as the worst segment ever with the
Yeah.
Rosie, was it O'Donnell and someone else?
Yeah,
Can't
yeah, it
remember.
was Rosie O'Donnell and Ace Steele. You know, old Bitey.
Oh,
um,
that's yeah. But it needs to be so overt with it, and have not mentioned him now in a decade.
yeah, yeah.
But
Until
they're pro military, outwardly pro military,
yeah,
and they put all the military propaganda out there. They're probably supporting it. Obviously, as an Englishman, I get to go, oh, here we go, more US military propaganda. Me as an English guy, obviously without the same love
obviously,
for the military as an Americans. But yeah, so they're out with that. So they're caught in two worlds now because now the military is tied to Trump. So whenever they do anything with the military, which they have been doing the entire time, now there's a link. And this is like, and them being at the same event now is like the link is now secured.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the chain's connected now.
Let's
You are now changed to this. Like
they they had Logan Paul put the U.S. title on Donald Trump in the lead up to the election. They had Logan Paul with Kane and The Undertaker on that podcast, on The Undertaker's podcast.
I forgot about that
Um,
egregiousness.
yeah, so like, even if they didn't overtly mention him in the lead up, they had their people approved to do this campaigning for him. They also like during WrestleMania week, the PR week from hell, that where nothing happened to them. Nothing happened. The and like
It was one thing after the other. It's crazy.
so like just to have this happen, and you see the mask fall off Cody finally, and and like I was talking to people who were trying to confront their feelings about it, and they're like, well, they're only doing that because WWE told them to do it, and I'm like, no, he wanted to do it. He asked who's gonna be. He didn't ask who was gonna be there. They were told who was gonna be there, and that you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna smile, and you're gonna be happy.
I feel like it hardly, in that way, in terms of like, as a fan, it makes sense if you've invested in something, then they do something like that. It makes sense to try and justify it and give them another chance in your head because you've invested all that time into the hobby. But I feel like optically for them, for WWE, it doesn't really matter that stuff because
It doesn't.
now you've made that link. It's happened now,
Yeah.
and even if they were there for the pro military stuff, it doesn't matter now. The link you can't turn back from this. You are outwardly this now,
Yeah.
which it's one of those things where you watch the WWE shows and it's kind of like I watch it and I'm like they are. Whenever I complain about certain things or whatever, I watch the crowd and I'm like, but they are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like I may be critiquing it, going, "This is dumb," but I'm like, but there are people who are liking it.
Have you ever watched that movie Civil War? It came out like 2 years ago.
Oh, I haven't. It's been on my list,
Yeah.
but I keep
So
thinking
Jesse, like in the trailer, Jesse Plemons says the line, "What America are you from?" And I guess we know what America WWE is from. We know what America Cody Devontae Rhodes is from.
I think the difference now is it was always like insinuated, but you could always have, if you were like a hardcore fan, you could always have a not benefit of the doubt. You could always like that. You could justify it essentially, being like, oh no, they try and be apolitical, and sometimes you see actually sleep through like you can justify it like that.
Yeah.
But you can't do that now. To be fair, you couldn't really do it for a long time, but it will just become more and more evident over time, and the links and the ties will be more and more stronger. And I guess just like Big Phil, you have to find bigger ways to justify why you keep watching, because it'd be more overt. It's pretty overt now.
Yeah.
But like I guess my reason to keep watching is I'm like the main social suplex guy covering this shit, so the others don't have to watch it, and also it's just on my Netflix across the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't attribute to any like Peacock numbers or anything, and I also don't watch the show till like a Thursday,
Yeah.
so I'm not on any live numbers. But yeah, yeah, that I've got my own like mini justification. Which, to be fair, I could drop at any point.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to just stop doing it if they go too far in my own kind of morality, but yeah, you'll see bigger reasons for Justified to continue to watch, and
Okay.
I guess in a way they've tried to not have the show become politicized,
Mm.
but now with the military being politicized and them supporting the military so outwardly, I don't know how you continue the way they're going without it just becoming an overt tie now, or increasingly so over the course of time.
I do. I want to thank you for coming on, Matt, because this has been a pleasure. And this stuff is important to talk about seriously, because as a consumer, I don't want my wrestling to be tied to this stuff. I go to watch wrestling to escapism, not to be pushed in the face with like my reality. And that's when it sucks to me when wrestling gets real. It really sucks.
Well, plus they've got so many like black fans, so many Mexican fans.
Yeah.
Like siding with a side is bad for business,
Yeah.
which is why I assume they have stayed away from Trump, like verbally.
Yeah. Well, we got
yeah.
we got a grande americano there. I remember your answer for like what your favorite dessert in the summer was a lemon cake, right?
Oh yes, yes.
A very moist lemon cake. But my gonna be asking like this is like, if you're gonna have something to cool off, something sweet, something nice, something to cool off in the summer, what would it be?
Or are we talking food or drink or
Yeah.
dealer's choice?
Dealer's choice.
If it's cool and in the summer, I will put a Diet Coke in the fridge.
I love Diet Coke.
I say summers don't normally get hot enough where you need to put it in the freezer. That's very rare.
Yeah.
And the one time our country hit 40 degrees, which is 100 Fahrenheit. The one time I ever had that, I had COVID, so I didn't experience it properly. So, I mean, my brother was rushing towels up and down from the freezer to put them on my head in rotation because I had a temperature when it was 100 Fahrenheit. Like, it was not a good time. But anyway, yeah. So maybe a chilled beer. Food wise, what do I like when it's hot? Food wise, like something which the oven doesn't heat up the kitchen too much.
Yeah.
Something nice. Like, I will say the thing that has absolutely changed, I'll say everyone's lives, are air fryers. I cannot sing the praises of air fryers enough. I'm assuming that this wasn't the topic you were expecting when you called me on.
Yeah.
But I cannot sing the praises of air fryers enough. Just the ability to just do what an oven would do, but without it's so good.
I'm gonna say thank you, man, and it's been a pleasure. But hopefully we do this again, man.
Right. Yes. Tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you, man.